Hey everybody, I am PyrOMG alongside the ever-talented Ashe.
Oh gosh.
And this is AbCom XD. Around here, it's all about talk of extended discussion. And considering last time's AbCom podcast, which was like a week ago, was talking about the where we go from here aspect of things, post-TIBA, we decided we need to go a little bit deeper and talk about the impact of the community from that. So where's the community go from here? So anyway, we're going to go from there and basically open the floor up to introductions because we have a plethora of amazing talent here with us today. So Ashe, you want to introduce yourself first, maybe?
Yeah, what plethora are you talking about? Sorry. Hi, I'm Ashe. I am the co-host. Hey, what's up with that? And I actually work on DoktorApplejuce's Abridging stuff as a on the writing team and as one of the actresses, and I do other stuff too. But that's my big thing in the Abridging community.
Hi, I'm CoffinJockey. I voice act in a bunch of series in general, and I help write on certain teams like Abridgiplex, Abridged Files, Schmuck Squad, and Earl of Basington.
My name is what? My name is who? My name is Chicka Dr. Applejuice, and I am an abridger. I have Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero, and Young Justice abridged series. I've also recently started editing for some side projects of Charleston VO and also for Mu Venus.
Hi, I'm Hulk Abridged. I'm mainly known for my Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works parody.
Testify, sister.
I've been around for about 4 or 5 years now, I guess. I've done a few different parodies here and there. I've voiced mainly in stuff with PSN Yomi 133, Yaroshian, people like that. Yeah, glad to be on the show. Oh, and I had, I guess my most recent thing was Friendship Force in the TIBA contest.
Hey, I'm Kieran. I do a bunch of stuff with Team 4-Star. I started back in 2011 when HBI2K did his Pass Gas contest. I opened up with that with Bust Gunner, which is atrocious, but hey, we gotta start somewhere. Made a bunch of one-shots with Master WGS, and now I'm doing co-writing with a bunch of the DBZ Abridged stuff and working on a few other things, so how's it going?
It's good.
Good stuff. It's good stuff, everyone. All right. So before we really talk about, like where Abridging is going, I think it's important to talk about, where Abridging's been. So pre-TIBA, pre this big fancy contest where all these people came out of the woodwork, where did we feel that Abridging was going? Where do we feel like it had gone? And was there anything in particular that was kind of, standing out versus maybe not so much standing out?
I think Abridging overall had grown very rapidly in about the past 2-3 years, at least. Definitely the last 2 years. It seems like every time you look around, there's someone else coming out with, some sort of new parody. And a lot of them were really good, and that's one thing that made me extremely happy to see was the overall increase, at the very least, in like visual and audio quality in the community, because people are getting better, using better equipment, better resources were available. So a lot of older abridgers were very open to working with younger abridgers and helping them out, find their legs and whatnot. So I think the environment community had been on a bit of an upswing, which made TIBA really fortuitous timing, because there's a lot of people who just were looking for something to cut their teeth on.
That's so interesting to me because I feel like, maybe just because I personally felt a little disenfranchised with the whole abridging thing in the past few years. I feel like a lot of it got kind of stagnant, but I've also seen a bunch of other people just doing a bunch of innovative things lately, and it's been nice to see. Honestly, I kind of fell out of a lot of it, but after this contest, I've been a little curious to dip back in.
I mean, I could agree with the stagnation aspect, but I just feel like the overall production quality had at least improved, which I liked.
Yeah,
humor course being subjective, but.
Considering, at least from my perspective, it became very... People were in their own bubbles, is the best way I can put it, for a very long time. And that needed to change, but I didn't know how it was going to change. And then TIBA came around, and I was like, this might be it. this might be the time.
I completely agree with Pyro. I was one of the abridgers that kind of cropped up during that last 2-3 years Hawk was mentioning. I got a little bit lucky because I joined on with somebody that was already a very skilled editor, but it seemed like everyone was in their own little bubbles on their own little islands, and it seemed nearly impossible to get a hold of anybody. I remember my first networking was just I had to offer people parts in a bridge series I was writing for in order to even get them added on Skype. It was really rough to kind of try to get in on a community for a long time, and it just kind of seemed like there wasn't a good network of communication between abridgers.
That's really disappointing, honestly.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. It seems like a lot's changed, especially now with the AbCom community. This actually seems like a huge asset to our community. Everybody's kind of together. You can immediately get everybody's attention, talk to anybody you need to talk to, and
that's
it seems very
really
open.
good.
I definitely agree with you on that, because like I came in at a lucky time, I think, with Abridging, because I came in right when, or I started getting involved with other abridgers when the Abridged forums was at its liveliest. So I was able to meet a lot of people I've worked with over the years who introduced me in turn to a lot of other people. Because at that point, like, the site was still fairly new, it was very lively.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good learning resource for a lot of abridgers.
Yeah,
If it hadn't been for that, I don't think I would have met as many people as I did as easily as I did.
Mm-hmm. I can say my perspective comes more from an outside perspective, because I didn't get into abridging until this year, just before TIBA, and then my first run-in with any other abridgers was after TIBA, pretty much. So, but I have been a fan of abridging since 2010, and I noticed it seemed like there was like fewer and fewer high-quality abridged series. But at the same time, when you think about it, that's because the standard of quality was just skyrocketing. Like right around 2010 was when like the quality was starting to shift in the editing and the voice acting and all that. It was starting to get something more productive. Things nowadays, lots of first-time abridgers that seem like crap nowadays, they would have been absolutely mind-boggling back in 2010 and even before that.
See, it's interesting you bring that up. This is kind of a point I've been curious about, gauging what people think about this. I keep hearing people mention that, the quality has definitely gone up when it comes to editing and voice acting, and I would say the elements of presentation. What I look for as a writer is I look for writing, and I feel like a lot of it has been very stagnant throughout a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, sure, it can look flashier, but I feel like the writing has not really improved with a lot of people.
Oh, I definitely agree with you on that. I feel like people focus more on the technical qualities. They're like, okay, this looks and sounds close to an anime.
Yeah, and I think people do that fan dub kind of thing where they try to, that's what people want to see. They want to see something visually appealing.
See, that was kind of...
Go ahead. No,
I was saying that was kind of my thing for a while. Is I was more of an outsider looking in as well. I've always just watched them. You know, I've been doing voice acting and stuff, and not abridging necessarily. And so that was kind of my thing for a long time. Of, okay, that was my thing. Is they looked good, but they were all the same. If that makes sense. There was a very distinct approach to the writing that was very, you could tell that it was kind of the same kind of humor over and over and over again. Very formulaic.
Yeah, very formulaic.
And if it didn't appeal to you, you were screwed. It was just kind of like, there wasn't a lot of risk taking. There wasn't a lot of smart writing, which is always something that I think can really bring down the totality of the presentation. Yeah. As if the script is just straight up stupid because it's the same thing over and over again. It's the same kind of very baseline, we've never written before in our lives, you know what you're doing. Which, I mean, everyone starts there. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, everyone starts there. It's fine. But when everything has that, it's like...
And you know,
it's I can't find anything that's entertaining.
It's like the community itself is becoming complacent because they're used to seeing the same stuff.
Yeah, I feel like the people
Precisely.
are very concerned with doing, and this is, I'm not trying to dogpile, anybody saying that presentation is important, because I agree. Like, I absolutely think presentation is a very important factor to making it successful, but I don't want that to be, I think, like, there's been a shift before TIBA, I want to say, because I think after TIBA, people got more creative, and I really liked that, because people were dipping into really crazy shows, doing a lot of crazy stuff with their writing, a lot of meta stuff.
Takes on stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of experimental stuff that was really prominent back in 2010, 2011. People just doing stuff and seeing what stuck. And then I think, with the success of Team 4-Star and things like that, people were like, oh, you got to sound good, you got to look good if you want to get views, and then Something Witty got huge, and they did the same kind of thing. But I think their writing's fantastic, and I just noticed that a lot of people try to focus on emulating that style instead of doing something on their own, if that makes sense. Like really adhering to the source material, and I've always been a fan of ones that go nuts with it and make the characters your own. Harvey Birdman, that crap. That's what I really like to see.
That's
One thing
Oh, go ahead.
One thing I really noticed is I got into as a fan of Abridging in 2010 mainly because of Purple Eyes WTF, his code.
Yes.
Yeah. I've noticed that a lot of people who try and do the lol random humor, at least for a good period of time while he was still popular, were trying too hard to be him and not trying to be himself, trying to be themselves. But I've noticed very recently there's been like a upswing of the number of people that do sort of lol random humor, but they're being themselves. People like EOD or My Toaster is Retarded. Brilliant people who are doing like crazy stuff, but making it their own.
I believe that's the line.
Actually,
oh, go ahead.
I do want to touch on one thing here really quick. We're talking about writing being stagnant, and I feel like that, personally, I think that leads back to a lack of easily accessible community, because when everybody is alone on their island, they just see something they like a new Abridger who's never worked with anybody before, watches an amazing series, an awesome series, and is like, this is great, this is exactly what I want to do, and they exactly do it, which is why a lot of content that comes out is reminiscent of other previous content. Is that there's no community for them to talk to and build off of. They don't get to think, like, how can I make a unique Abridged series? They think, all right, well, there's no way I'm ever going to contact these people. There's no way I'm ever going to figure this out. So I just got to figure out how to do it by making another thing like theirs.
If I could
I think that's why that happens.
If I could go off that for a second, you also, even if when you finally do make it with a community, you also run the risk of the community either just, being an echo chamber, like, oh, whatever you did is amazing. Or, conversely, you run the risk of, even if you have your own personalized style, you run the risk of the community wanting you to emulate what they think is acceptable, what they enjoy. Because that's something I've noticed over the years with the different Abridged cliques I've interacted with. Like, once people start joining a group, after like a couple months or even to a year, their styles become more integrated, I guess, with each other.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, they stop making the kind of weird out there stuff or plot heavy stuff or whatever it was they were doing before, and their style, they're basically trying to write more towards what their friends want to see than what they were originally doing.
And that's an interesting approach to it, because I think the like what Ashe brought up, saying people being themselves, I think is really important. And I think it's just something that people have to learn over time, how to meter criticism. Like, change this, change that. You don't have to, do everything. You can do whatever you want. It's your own show. And I think a lot of people are, when they join a new community, especially new people, they want to please, they want to be accepted. People want to be a part of this thing, so if they'll take suggestions to heart and act on those. And I kind of want to reinforce, do what you think is funny, because you will not be the only person who finds it funny. There are other people out there who will like it too.
Yeah, I don't like talking about my own work that much, and I already feel bad. I'm going to be doing that a few times a night.
You're fine.
Like me, I like more plot and character-driven style humor instead of the low random stuff. But I came into the community at a point where people didn't want to see the character-driven humor. They wanted flashy editing, more.
They wanted explosions. They wanted crazy stuff. That's what
exactly
people wanted.
like
Yelling characters!
Like
the Michael Bay Abridgers.
Yeah.
Like if here's my example of one of the best character-driven it's one okay, it's at least a personal favorite of mine for character-driven humor was I think it was actually one of yours, Kieran, the serial killers.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that is one of mine.
Yeah.
Yes, I did make that.
Yeah, like I just really enjoyed it's just a strong dialogue between two characters. It's an extended scene with just two characters trying to mesh out a problem. That's the type of humor I really like, and not that many abridgers do that anymore. That's the type of stuff I mean, people say my scenes run long because it's just usually a handful of characters going back and forth instead of it just being, you know, lulls and explosions. Because I like the more character interaction and dialogue-based humor.
And I think that stuff is really hard to write and make effective for a huge audience, because you will get those people who say, this ran too long, like, this is boring, you know, you'll get, if you gotta get people invested in those characters, and sometimes people will take the easy route of going, let's make them zany, let's make them ridiculous.
Yeah,
because that's the easiest thing to do.
I go hard with that.
I
Plus,
hate
how are you gonna
that
fit in the
feedback
references?
when it's saying, hey, this is, people aren't going to want to sit down to watch a 15-minute abridged series. Really? Have you seen Team 4-Star? Have you seen something witty? They will if it's good.
Yeah.
Quality can make quantity okay, I guess? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we're saying is if you do something, it's if you build it, they will come. Is what it is. It's where you put the quality into it, and the people who watch it are going to be the fans. But you know, now that we've we're basically, I think we're at a good point where we can talk about, okay, we've talked about this a little bit now, but where are we now? Now that we're in this just after TIBA situation, and you guys have talked about this a little bit already, what are we seeing now that was so different from before TIBA? I think definitely taking into consideration how many people who've never done abridging before did their first abridge. What are you guys seeing?
Yeah, like the guy who made 4th place, Jesse Gold, that was his first ever abridged series.
Yeah.
That's amazing to see.
Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which was 8th, that was their first ever.
I'm in the minority
series.
here, but I really did like the Fist of the North Star one.
I actually enjoyed that. I mean, I'm a
Yeah,
sucker
that was
for
good.
retro anime, so I kind of had a bias going in towards, like, I want to give this a shot.
Yeah, anybody picks an
I
old show,
enjoyed-
you already won points with me.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
well, yeah. I
same
mean,
here.
the fact that. So, how do we feel about the fact that so many people who've never abridged before picked old shows, came at it from weird. Like, there were some really different. If you go back and look at the top 30, there was very different approaches each time. What do y'all see in currently? Are you seeing this as a good thing or a bad thing?
I think
Honestly, I
that's
think it's-
amazing.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the
necessary.
if you look at the top 30, a lot of it was older anime or Western animation, which most modern abridgers will touch.
Yeah.
For one simple reason. Because I've worked on projects that are based off old anime before. Older anime don't get views.
Nope.
Like there's a fucking gold. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. I don't know how you guys are about language on this. I'm a sailor basically.
How fucking dare you cuss in my podcast?
Can you
How
watch
dare you.
Dark Side
alright? But anyway, there's a gold mine of classic anime out there that is just waiting to be tapped. But no one wants to work with it because it's not Yuri on Ice or Drifters. It's not the big anime of the season.
Yeah,
Which
I got
is
so tired of
guaranteed
that
to
shit.
get
That's when I
hits.
got disenfranchised, man. Like when people just started doing
Same
like,
thing.
what's new show came out? We're gonna do it the week after it came out, abridged episode 1.
Yeah. Like, I'll admit, I did that with Fate, but here's the thing. I had been waiting for 2 years for the anime to come out. I had written my first, several episodes based off the game. I went
That's a
back
big
and play-
franchise.
Yeah. I mean, it's a remake of a remake of a remake. I had material to work off of. And again, I've played a game. I know all the really obscure whatevers.
And basically, like, the first couple episodes are identical to the original, just the animation is way better.
Yeah, it is. So, I mean, I didn't feel guilty doing it then.
I do want to interject a little bit with a thing that Dr. Applejuice put up is the source footage is better in newer stuff. You're not dealing with a
That's
4:3 aspect ratio. When you widescreen it, it doesn't look like a bizarre like mess of paint on your screen. So there's a lot to be said for working with newer material. And the one really nice thing is that they get Blu-ray releases of older stuff sometimes, so that you can kind of work around that by getting better source footage. But that I think is one reason why people don't pick older stuff is. Because there's something to be said for getting that extra bump of relevancy when you pick a new anime, you pick everybody's current favorite anime, and everybody's waiting to see it. You're the first one out there, and you get a ton of views because of it. There's something to be said for that. But there's also something to be said for not picking an anime that's in a 4:3 aspect ratio that when you widescreen it looks like a weird jumble of colors.
No, man,
Do
I
not
told you,
do
like,
that. Don't
yeah, don't
ever do that.
widescreen it.
Yeah, just was it Pillbox?
Look at it
No,
on
that's
your
not right.
phone or don't look at it at all.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys think that because so many older anime were tapped for TIBA, that we might see maybe a old anime renaissance of abridging?
Honestly, I don't think so.
I'm hoping to see a Western animation renaissance in Abridging, because
I could say that, maybe.
first of all, the copyright there, I don't think I've ever seen a single Western animation abridged ever get dinged by copyright.
It's very rare.
I've never seen John Wayne the anime get any copyrights.
But
What did Jesus chant?
that's one thing. Also, generally Western animations have a way higher budget, so even an older Western animation show is going to have better source footage to work with. And the lip flaps, it opens up a new realm of editing that rather than just opening and closing.
It also was a more realm of difficulty. I've edited both Western animation and older animation. It's kind of like what I think Coffin mentioned earlier, with it being a little bit easier to work with modern stuff compared to older animation. Evangelion, I love the series. It's hard to edit, but say Fate, I mean, it's this. There's no jittery frames or anything like that.
I actually
You kind of run into similar problems with Western, is what I'm saying, though, because there's more dynamic lip flaps.
Yeah, well,
there's more
Westerns definitely
diversity.
doesn't do the anime thing of open, half open, closed. That
Exactly. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I'm seeing a lot of people now actually, and this is how I think Abridged is evolving. It used to be just, all right, you deal with what you have in the animation. A lot of Abridgers now have friends who are artists that they're getting into this stuff, where they're actually putting in custom lip flaps. This is kind of changing the game.
Yeah, that's been my favorite thing that the TFS guys have been implementing, is using artists to do custom lip flaps and things for scenes. I think that helps. If it sometimes it'll look jarring, but I think you can make it work really well with certain scenes.
That's actually what one of the things we did with our TIBA entry, the Evangelion one, the Friendship Force. We had one of the guys who was credited for our entry. He wasn't even a voice actor in it, or anything. He was specifically just doing lip flap, original frames of animation, lip flaps. Honestly, he even redrew characters at some point.
Yeah.
It is really impressive what he was able to do in such a short time frame. His name's Angel X Mikey. I highly recommend checking out his work. He's a really good animator.
I had a similar thing within my entry. We had Duchess, Moondream of A.
Oh, yeah, she's
did
great.
custom frames, custom flaps, custom everything. We had to retouch whole scenes to get them to look better, and she did a phenomenal job on that.
There was recently Charleston VO put out a Dead Man Wonderland abridged that I edited for. There was one scene where this guy, he wasn't talking, his mouth was closed the entire scene. He was turning his head as he was walking. I spent almost a month on a 5-second clip redrawing the lip flaps on that so that he could talk.
I did that once. I will, if I can help it, I will never do that again.
Yeah, I do not want to do that again.
I am not an artist. I am the worst artist you will ever see in your life.
I'm waiting for that one abridger
More
who
power to you,
takes
man.
I'm waiting for that one abridger who takes the epic turn where it starts off and you're like, okay, this is the episode I know, and then you find out halfway through they reanimated the entire episode and took it a different way.
See, it's funny you say that, because honestly, that's the thing that I want to focus on with this new wave. I love people being really. That's a lot of meta entries, a lot of really goofy stuff. don't let this footage limit you. Go bonkers with it. This is a resource for you to manipulate. I don't think, like, it's not a very artistic thing, you know, you're just kind of messing with stuff, but you still have these resources to express yourself. Go nuts. You are not slave to whatever this is.
And that actually brings up another thing that I had thought about, and it also relates to our current line of questioning where we are now. Our community is a lot more open now, I feel. We have the AbCom chat, and we have 250 members in here. And the biggest challenge for new Abridgers is the skill level required. You need to be able to be a competent video editor, audio engineer, you need to know how to use Photoshop, you need to know After Effects. There's a huge list of software that you have to not only be proficient with, but skilled at. And a lot of the time, that's why teams are made. Everybody wears a hat for that kind of thing. But somebody that sees an episode of an Abridged series and says, oh, yeah, that'd be great to do, they don't have the resources, maybe, to get in on that. They can do one of a couple programs. They have to learn a lot of stuff to even start. And that's why I'm glad that we have this community where it's at now after TIBA, that we have this gathering of people that might be willing to help newcomers that want to start their first time. They're like, hey, I have this crazy idea for a scene. It's nowhere in the source footage. How can I make it happen? And it can allow for that kind of creativity to be expressed in Abridging, which is rare nowadays.
I never really thought about it, but like where we are now compared to where we were before, you look through this freaking like community and you'll see people labeled as musicians. There are people putting together new music for these things. There are people going above and beyond what was just the limitations that were set before, and that's pretty freaking cool. Like,
I want to make mention of I think it was number 15 in TIBA, that one piece of junk or something like that. Where Izzy even made mention of that in his judging notes, but there was a scene where there was a room on fire. They went out of their way to reanimate, like, stylistic fire that fit the scene instead of just... Yeah, that's insane. Amazing.
Well, and let's also consider, I am drawing a blank on the actual title, the Yearline April one with the rap at the end for TIBA.
Yeah, but national competition.
Thank you. I was blanking. I apologize. Like that kind of stuff. Do you guys think that we're going to be seeing more of that?
I think we will. Like, are you talking about like just the departing from the
random,
source, or
the sort of like going above and beyond the call, the call of Abridging, where it's like, oh, we're not just going to take this footage and mash it up and chop it up. We're going to like add content, really original content.
I feel.
What do you guys think?
I feel like the greatest tool that an Abridger has in those kind of situations that all this leads to is the ability to play with expectations. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
You have someone expecting something because it was the way the original episode goes, and you could take it a completely different direction.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. One of my favorite stupid jokes I ever did was this Gravitation Abridged way back when, where we straight up kill a character. Like, I animated the blood splatter and the gunshot of him getting shot in the head, and now he's gone. He was just written out of the series because he got shot.
I actually watched that for the first time yesterday. That was hilarious, and it just hangs. It just hangs on the wall for a good 5 seconds, staring at the blood splatter. I lost it at that.
I know, that's the kind of stuff that I love to do, and I'm really glad that some like TIBA things did that. Like, even not to the visual style, but Walter MB's Breaking Bean entry, like he just took the scene and changed the framing of it, and it came out so good. Like, you don't even have to do visual stuff; you just change how it's told, and you get that same effect. I really like that kind of stuff.
You know, building off of both what you had said, Kieran, and what Pyro had said, I feel like the Abridger's greatest asset, greatest tool, greatest thing that you have at your disposal is the complete and unlimited freedom to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
and that's not in any other medium. That's why we have to use so many tools to get to where we are. You can take any series and make anything out of it and be as wild and as crazy as you want to be. And that's something that I'm not sure everybody fully understands going into Abridging.
That's something I'm trying to, actually, the next episode of Fate, that's one of the things I'm trying to do with it. I'm combining about 4 episodes in each episode of my show now. And I've basically just got to the point where I'm just making completely original plots for each episode. Because, Fate's been abridged a million times. its fans know what to expect. You know, it's a lot of people. I mean,
At
they
least
have their
twice in this
expectations
chat.
in mind. Yeah, Dr. Applejuice also has a really good Fate Abridged.
We've got 6 people in this
And,
chat. 3 of them have written for a Fate Abridged.
Yeah,
It's true. It's absolutely true.
but it's
It must be fate.
it's nice to.
I swear to
try and
God.
turn over the lens.
Can we stay in this call all night?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Zero
But-
chance of that happening.
I'm gonna take what Coffin said and use it as a great segue here, because if there is unlimited potential, what do we do with that? Let's talk about where do we go from here. Let's talk about what can be done to make this community, the Abridged community, even better going forward. What improvements can be made? Where do we go? How do we evolve?
I think
The floor is yours, gentlemen.
The big killer of anything creative is stagnation. Don't do what's comfortable.
Yeah. I gotta agree. Don't do something that is I would say do something that you still feel you are passionate about, but take risks. Like, just try something. There's no harm in giving it a shot.
And I think where we go from here is just further connectivity. Everybody is more involved with
Yeah.
everyone else's stuff. People are more aware of what others are doing. New and creative stuff comes out all the time. I'm hoping from that. I'm hoping that this connectivity doesn't breed stagnation in the kind of echo chamber sense that Hawk had brought up earlier.
Yeah.
Or conversely, that somebody gets shot down and stops abridging entirely.
That's another thing I was like going off of that. I definitely agree. I don't want anyone to get shut down like that. I mean,
I
we
think
need
that's our
to.
responsibility as a community
Agreed.
to phrase our criticism in constructive ways, and not just like this is bad or like stop whatever. You need to. I feel criticism needs to be led with like, I think it might be improved by this or something like that, because a lot of people take criticism in the form of like, this way is better than I would have done it better this way, or I would have preferred to have done it this way.
Yeah. Because that's one of the things that, I apologize for talking about my own junk again. That's one of the things that we encountered for our group with Friendship Force, because we got a lot of criticism wasn't directed at the video, but at us as people. Which, I mean, I didn't let it really bother me or anything. I just think, because I've been in abridging for like 4 or 5 years now. But a younger abridger hearing some of that stuff, I feel like that would break their confidence, and I don't want to see that happen, especially with the community growing as fast and as close as it is lately. Like, if you have criticism, just make sure to direct it towards the content and not the individuals.
One thing
I mean, that helps keep it constructive instead of, go ahead.
Yeah. One thing I would say, because you're talking about like home base, go with what you know in here, and speaking of which, with Abridgeplex stuff, Coffin knows this. We'll get critiques sometimes from people that are freaking like just straight up, this sucks. And whenever that happens, me or Red Beast or someone will actually ask. We'll straight up go, can you explain why? If you really want to critique us, if you give us something solid to go off of, we can learn something. Don't get discouraged just because someone says something bad. Figure out why they did. And if they're not willing to give it to you, then that didn't sound right. If they're not willing to explain it to you, then that's the point where you discard it completely, because clearly they didn't care enough to want to make it better, and you do.
Yeah,
The other
like
thing,
you're...
sorry.
No, go ahead.
The other thing to keep in mind when it comes to criticism of anything creative and subjective is, whenever as a critic, you have to keep in mind that this comes, when you're an editor for things, you can't just rewrite it and put words in somebody's mouth and say, I would have had them say this, I would have had them do that, because that is now you writing. It's someone else's project. You have to go, this didn't work because of these factors. This was paced poorly. This wasn't fully fleshed out. This just looks bad. Very concrete things you can do. As someone who's creating something, you have to keep in mind that when someone gives you criticism, they're talking about something that you've made. It's your, take it as your own. Do you want to fix it for them if there's something that you feel resonates with you? And you have to go, sure, yeah, this doesn't look as good as I thought it did, or this joke does need to be refined. How can I make that better? Because you just have to take that as other people are pointing out stuff. It's your job as the creator to fix that. It's not theirs to come up with the solution for everything.
And also going off of that, as someone like when you receive criticism, try not to take it personally.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, you might if someone says they think trying to think, Saber was horribly written because she didn't do blah 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 blah, or she did blah 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 that demeans the character, etc. etc.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be compelled to think, oh, they're attacking my writing style or the way I want it to be done. No, they're giving an honest opinion. I mean, of course, you get some just troll criticism or stuff like that occasionally, but just be more open when you review criticism. Don't just shut it out and turn toward your echo chamber.
Yeah. Just keep in mind that also you're doing this. Anybody doing this is mostly doing it because they enjoy it. So if you're not having fun doing it, fix it. Do something fun.
Yeah.
And just to build off of that a little bit more, maybe as a tip to if you're having trouble taking criticism, I remember that there are so many different types of abridged series, so many different types, lengths, styles, humor. There's complete freedom in this community that we've made. So you're gonna run into something like from the same creators, like Dragon Ball Z Kai Abridged, and like I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think there was at least a 20-minute Dragon Ball Z Abridged episode. You're gonna run into episodes of different lengths, and certain people are gonna like the 20-minute one, certain people are gonna like the 2-minute one, and certain people are gonna like different types of humor. This is subjective, so you might run into somebody who says this was paced poorly, and they're the kind of person that would like a 2-minute episode, whereas you as a writer were writing for a 20-minute episode. So it is subjective. There's no right answer for this. It's just everyone's trying to do their best to make a better community and a better product at the end of the day.
I cannot echo that enough. You have to keep in mind a demographic. That whenever you make anything creative, have a demographic in mind. It's easiest if it's you, because then you know if I laugh, hey, if somebody else will find it funny.
Exactly.
Another thing to keep in mind is, like we've mentioned before, how fast the community has grown over the years. You're going to be compared to other abridgers a lot.
Yeah.
That's something I'm like, just going off of the fate abridgers in this call. Like me, my content got compared to Yarrow and Omni's stuff when they got started, because I started like right after them. Honestly, the entire reason I did Face and Unlimited Blade Works was because they'd already done Zero, and I was like, well, I love both shows, so I'll just do the second one. But like, I've got compared to them.
I've been compared to Hawk.
Yeah, like it's gonna happen. Thing is, if anyone says like same thing with the Friendship Force, we were like, oh, this is decent, but it's not as good as like Gigax, which by the way, I'd highly recommend watching Gigax Averbridge. It is an outstanding parody. But don't take it personally. They're fans of other content creators. That's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. You do you do your own stuff, and don't let people get you down because of that.
Almost.
We definitely go on.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was just gonna repeat. Like every series I've written for has probably been written by somebody else, with the exception of maybe Dagashi Kashi Abridged and Orenchi no Furojijo Abridged. I have been compared to almost every creator out there in everything that I've written for, and it's never gotten me down.
It's nothing's new. Like, just even in creating original content. So I think it's very important to realize that what you've done, someone might have done it better. So you gotta do it differently.
There will always be someone better than you.
There's always gonna be someone better than you in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
You know, our dumb justice for TIBA got compared to like 3 different people. It was just like, okay, fine.
The key in it,
Great.
because like a good example, freaking Aoi Fluro has an amazing Noragami Abridged. We do one as well. When we first were going to do that, we were hesitant too because she had done it. And my advice to anybody who's thinking of doing a series but they think someone else has done it, don't let that stop you, because they have not done your vision.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's the most exciting thing about being a creative, is that you can make something that would not have existed without you. Think about that.
Exactly.
Go nuts.
I'd
There
like
may be
to
a
echo
finite
that
number of series is out there, but there is not a finite number of visions out there.
Exactly. And you could go out there and make another parody that a million other people have done. You could make another Dragon Ball Z Abridged that, who even knows how many of those there are out there besides Team 4 Stars. You could make another Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and somebody out there watching them could watch yours and like it the most. because you've done it your way. You're always going to have different demographics.
I did it my way. I'm sorry.
Actually, funny thing on that topic, I'm doing a Fate Zero abridged as well. I'd thought about doing that for like right away as soon as I started my Fate Stay Night abridged series. I hadn't heard of Hawks at that point, but I had heard of Fate Zero by Yaroshin and Omni Beneficial, and I was like, they've already done it good, so I'm gonna hold off. And then finally I decided, okay, I'm gonna do it. I released like a preview of it, and right as I release the preview, it gets announced that it's canceled. I'm like, oh god, now people are gonna think that I'm doing this to ride their coattails.
Yeah. Honestly, I gotta say, you're safe in the Fate fandom from that really happening. Because, like, I mean, hell, I have two of the voice actors from Fate Zero in my Face and Night parody, and I came out like a month after theirs did. The Fate fandom's really good, you know? They're very supportive of just any Fate series, it seems like. Like, half the comments I got from my videos were, like, oh my god, it's so cool to hear Ali Fluro and Yaro Sheehan in another Fate parody. Like, oh my god, wouldn't it be fun if, like, hell, this stuff was related? We're like, no, it's not related, but we appreciate the thought. I mean, fans will like what they like. Some fandoms are a little more accepted than others, I'll admit. Like, again, like, Fate fandom's probably, out of all the shows that I've worked on, like, even just as a voice actor, it's probably the most accepting fandom I've ever been in.
It goes in part and parcel with keeping your demographic in mind. If you're making it for fans of the thing, like, when I worked on Gravitation, that is not for fans of that show. That is me dicking around. Like, me and my friend. Like, has nothing to do with it. You just gotta keep your approach in mind so that when criticism happens, because it's going to, you're putting stuff on the internet, you know what to take and what to leave.
Exactly, like with the Evangelion thing we did for TIBA, we got a lot of hate from a lot of Evangelion fans because we went the opposite with it. Yeah. I mean, our version, like, here's literally the entire premise behind our Evangelion parody for TIBA. I wanted to make a show that wasn't so much a parody of Evangelion, but of the genre of cartoons, like Western cartoons I grew up with, like the old DIC anime dubs for like Sailor Moon and stuff like that, but also like G.I. Joe and Care Bears, Road Rovers, Sonic the Hedgehog, where like everything had a moral that was worth into the episode. They had the PSAs, characters were overly positive.
A very special episode.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's like, again, we took that's one thing I'm glad I saw a lot with TIBA entries like Dumb Justice or Star Wrecked. People took a concept that's been played with a lot. Like, there's a million parodies of Star Trek out there in some form or another. Mm-hmm. But giving it like the William Street style, like early Adult Swim spin on it was brilliant. It was a really strong parody. Making Dumb Justice like a documentary style, like hand cam, like, you know, like PBS office sitcom type thing. That was a great idea too. It took source footage that you've seen. You're welcome. It took source footage and concepts that you've seen done a million times and put a good spin in. Like, another one's the Madoka one shot that someone did for TIBA.
Super Ninja 5506.
Yeah, like the was that his video?
Yeah,
like,
Super Ninjas.
Okay, I highly recommend it. That was pretty fun. Like, yeah, like I think it was LK for his judge's blurb said that it's funnier if you know Madoka, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
I honestly loved it despite knowing nothing about Madoka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a fun concept. Like, her constantly repeating the same thing over and over until she got it right. It's like, even if you're just like, you know nothing about Madoka, but you're like a video gamer, and you're like, oh, I messed up that dialogue option. I need to go back and redo the check over and over and over. I mean, I've done that for like when I was a kid playing Fallout. Because you want to get like the ideal outcome. It's just a fun and an original way to play off something that's been done a million times.
So one last thing before we start having to maybe wrap up a little bit. I'm stealing it from you, Pyro. Ha ha ha.
Go ahead. Fine then. I don't want it anyway.
Taking into consideration the number of people who did an entry with no experience abridging literally ever, and coming in from a different background, but now they're continuing to do abridging. My first example I can think of is the guys who did Romance of the Three Kingdoms. None of them have ever done a bridge before. They do dubs, they do fan dubs, but they decided we're going to do an abridged. Now they're doing more. That kind of mindset, people coming from different backgrounds, what do you think you're going to see, or what would you like to see now that these new people might be filtering into the community?
Hopefully fresh ideas.
Yeah, that's the main thing for me too. Like
Fresh
unusual
talent,
approaches.
fresh ideas.
Like the Batman one that was it number 4?
Yeah.
Like that guy, for me, like I enjoyed it almost entirely just because it was a really strong vocal performance, and he didn't approach it like a abridged parody. And honestly, I know the word fan dubby has a lot of negative connotations for abridging, but it felt more like a fan dub or a gag dub of Batman. It felt very engrossed in the style of Batman. He didn't try to just make it zany or whatnot.
And it was
And
really
I like
well
that.
done for that.
Yeah, it was really well executed. I like seeing original ideas like that, or all the other crazy stuff we saw come out of TIBA.
Like Super Fiends, that was probably my favorite
Yeah.
entry in TIBA.
That was a
I
great
love
one.
Super Fiends.
Like people have done The Office, like people standing around in the office doing mundane stuff, but that particular twist on it, I absolutely loved it.
That one made me exceptionally happy because I had written a script like 2-3 years ago with a similar concept. Basically just like an office style comedy, but just focusing on the Legion of Doom. And like all my voice actors I wanted for were like, dude, don't do this. No one will watch this. This won't be successful. Before I even like read the script, I'm like, okay. When this came, I'm like, okay, see, it can be done.
Now
well.
you
These
get to
people
like
fucking
just
did it.
spam them with links to that video and go, see,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Like,
Blah.
this is
I was
exactly
right
what I
all
wanted.
along.
This is fucking awesome. And like whoever made that, the Super Fiends, just bravo to you guys. That was awesome.
Community. I
yeah.
have one thing I want to see out of the community. I want to see someone make a good Johnny Quest abridge. Make it happen for me.
Let's do it.
Make it happen
Let's do
for
it,
me,
everyone.
community. I believe in you.
DVDs.
Oh God.
I mean, the best Johnny Quest bridge already exists. It's Venture Brothers.
It's Adventure. I knew you were gonna freaking say it.
Also, I was
I'll
extremely
do it.
happy to see like 4 parodies use the Venture Brothers soundtrack that made it to the top 30.
Such a good soundtrack.
Really,
Also
really
just,
quickly before we
yeah.
we stray way too far away from
Sorry about that,
Super
guys.
Fiends. Shameless plug. The guy who voiced who made that, he may or may not be making a voice appearance in future episodes of Dumb Justice. Just pointing that out.
Oh.
You were
Also,
such a shill, and I
I'll
love
go.
it.
I'm gonna go ahead and use that since we're close to it anyway to say, all right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. I do want to say thank you to everyone on this freaking panel of guests here, and my co-host Ashe because she held it together when a couple of times during this my net may have gone down. Anyway, but before we go, we're gonna give the floor to in a row everyone here to plug something, and I guess I'll go last because that's what you're supposed to do. Have the guests go first. You don't steal the floor in your own house or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Got 'em.
so
You're also
we'll go
the
ahead
last
with
one listed on the
Ash
call.
first. Oh, what? Go ahead.
Why am I always first?
They said you're also the
Ladies
last one
first.
listed, like name-wise in the call.
I was your co-host, Ash. Hey, you can find me as Pixelsandpins on YouTube and Tumblr. I just do random stuff, fan dubs, comic dubs. I'm in Fate Stay and Fake Zero eventually. And I help write it. And I was in Dumb Justice. And you can check me out there, guys.
Do you want to be in Friendship Force?
Sure, why not?
Neat.
Coffin on you.
I'll be in anything.
First thing I want to do is, because I feel that this is very important, the first thing I like to plug is the YouTube channel that released Super Fiends is My Name is Earl. And everybody should go check them out because they were mentioned no less than 3 times here. And it's important
pretty
that
great.
you know who they are.
That's outstanding.
My name is Earl is a beautiful person.
Yes, you should definitely go check them out. Other thing is, I've been making my own content, which is not normal. Usually I write for other people. I've been doing comic dubs, so if you want to check me out, my YouTube channel is CoffinJockey. And that's all my plugs.
I am DoktorApplejuice, very recent abridger. I made Fake Stay Night and Dumb Justice, soon to release Fake Zero, which is going to be on my channel, DoktorApplejuice Abridged. So, yeah.
Hawk.
All right, I'm gonna be the biggest whore here and like plug everybody who worked in Friendship Force.
Okay.
Cause like that video meant a lot to me as a person. Like just to have everybody come together on it, and it was a great experience.
I can attest to it meant a lot to a lot of people.
I appreciate that. It's hosted on my channel, the Hulk Abridged, or it's the Hulk CBM, but it's under Hulk Abridging. I mainly do that and Face Day Night Unlimited Abridged Works, which stars several people from Friendship Force, like PSN Yomi 1-3, who does a Final Fantasy Abridged and a Kill la Kill Abridged. Then, of course, there's the always awesome Ali Floro, who's in my Fate thing, but she's also does a Devil's a Part-Timer parody on Overlord Abridged and Noragami Abridged on her channel. N13, who's an amazing voice actress. Sakurine Singer, who's also an amazing voice actress. Angel X Mikey, who's an outstanding artist. All of them have their own individual YouTubes under those names. I highly recommend them. And I'd also like to plug Dark Moon, his channel Team Daiguren. They do a One Punch Man that's really good. And he's going to be editing the future Friendship Force videos. And he also had a great TIBA entry.
And if you like Hawk, Hawk Abridged, he'll be making a future appearance in Dumb Justice.
Oh yeah, right. That is true.
I almost put like that Oscar music when they cue them off stage.
Yeah, I told them if I got
Thank the Academy.
I told them I would all plug them if I ever got the chance to talk about it in front of people.
That's fair.
Because it was a team effort. Everybody just put in their all on. Like honestly, I feel like for about any team entry though, like everybody just did amazing work for the contest.
Kieran, the floor is yours.
Sorry.
Well, it's okay. You're good, man. Don't worry about it. I just want to say, first off, thank you for having me on here. I haven't done a whole lot of bridging stuff lately. Myself and Master WGS, the guys that made the aforementioned Serial Killers and Gravitation and such. You can check out my channel at youtube.com/Lord Moonstone, or my Twitter is KiraNSA_. And we're working on something that's actually going on the Team 4-Star main channel in December. And it's what I think the next step of Abridging turns into. So I'm really excited to show it off because we got a whole bunch of fun stuff with it.
That sounds really amazing.
You got
dude.
me
I'm looking
excited
forward to that.
now.
Yeah, we've been keeping it under wraps for a lot of stuff, but it's him and I have been working on this for a while, and it's got a whole bunch of original assets and things, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Like, I'm really excited to see more content from you guys because y'all had really good like chemistry with your writing styles.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
That's something. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Before you get to yours, Pyro. That was one thing I wanted to mention earlier about when we were talking about the stuff we want to see for the community. I like seeing a lot of people work together in meshing their different writing styles.
I love that too.
That was a really good. That was one of my favorite parts, honestly, about TIBA. Just seeing so many people with diverse styles of humor coming together to make strong entries.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to find someone who complements your style, but it's also willing to challenge it.
That's actually really good. Okay. Should I go?
Go.
Okay. I'll just make sure. I'm like, I don't want to like interrupt because that was actually
I can
good.
talk for another hour if you want. Obviously, I'm like,
Nah.
I am a
Okay.
blabbermouth today.
I guess I have been your host, PyrOMG. I am part of Abridgiplex, and I am a part of the newly formed Abridge Alliance with this fellow over here, CoffinJockey. We will be working on Digimon Abridged, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be in Dagashi Kashi or whatever, but yeah.
I mean,
you're
if
already
the
in
show
there.
had more characters, I'd put you in.
Aren't you
But-
already in there? Like you're in
I mean-
all the TIBA entries. You're in.
My biggest fear is this joke doesn't die. I want it to just be over with and move on.
For the outsiders, there's a running gag that we say that PyrOMG is a part of every single abridged series.
Abridged ever.
So, if you like him, go ahead and thank him for his role in whatever your favorite abridged series is.
Oh
we
God,
don't realize he was
no.
actually the ghost voice actor for Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged in the very first episode.
I'm
Oh wow!
I'm
He was
actually
like-
glad
he was
I
like
didn't say
10.
what my Twitter is now. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right, we're
His
we're
Twitter
gonna.
is PyrOMG.
Oh fucking God! I guess to be fair, they would have figured it out anyway. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have my handle be everything I do
It's
anyway.
such a well-kept secret.
Okay. But anyway, before this gets worse for me, I'm going to go ahead and close out things for us. Everybody, thank you for listening. Hope to hear you next time. And until next time, stay abridged and stay calm.
Night, guys.
Ow, that physically hurt.
Stay abridged and stay calm.